The starship horizon hung in the cold vacuum of space, like a predator waiting to strike. Lieutenant Michael Rodriguez studied the holographic display, his fingers tracing the intricate web of sensor readings that mapped the surrounding star system. Around him, the bridge of the advanced exploration vessel hummed with a quiet intensity that spoke of years of rigorous training and preparation. Outside the reinforced viewports, the alien survey ship of the Zornak materialized with a subtle shimmer of quantum displacement. Its crystalline hull reflected the distant starlight, a testament to technological advancement that would have impressed most species. But not humans. Rodriguez remembered his grandmother's stories. She had survived the coastal wars of the 2050s, a conflict that had reshaped humanity's understanding of survival. Those memories were etched into his DNA, a legacy of adaptation, resilience, and unexpected triumph that no alien civilization could truly comprehend. "Incoming transmission," called out Lieutenant Elena Martinez, her fingers dancing across the communication console. Her voice carried a hint of anticipation, a subtle excitement that belied the potential danger of first contact. The holographic display flickered, resolving into the image of Commander Krolax. The Zornak representative was a marvel of biological engineering. Crystalline skin that shifted with internal light, multiple eyes that seemed to process information at impossible speeds, appendages that could manipulate complex systems with microscopic precision. And yet, to Rodriguez, the alien looked like nothing more than another obstacle to be understood and overcome. "Humans of the exploration vessel," Krolax began, the universal translator rendering his complex language into crisp English. "We represent the Galactic Confederation. Your presence in this sector requires immediate explanation and potential intervention." Rodriguez allowed himself a moment, just a moment, of pure, unfiltered human amusement. Intervention, as if the Zornak could truly understand human capability. "This is Lieutenant Michael Rodriguez of the United Earth Exploration Fleet," he responded, his tone measured but carrying an underlying current of steel. "We are conducting a standard scientific survey of unclaimed regions per established interstellar protocols." Krolax's crystalline form seemed to shimmer with barely contained condescension. "Your species lacks the necessary clearance, technological sophistication, and diplomatic standing to operate independently in this sector. We will require you to submit to a comprehensive review and potential quarantine." The bridge crew exchanged glances, not of fear, but of a shared understanding that defied the aliens' expectations. Lieutenant Martinez leaned toward Rodriguez, her voice a low whisper. "They have no idea what they're dealing with." Rodriguez knew the history. Humanity had emerged from centuries of conflict, environmental challenges, and technological disruption. Each crisis had been a crucible, forging a species capable of adapting faster, thinking more creatively, and surviving where others would have collapsed. The Zornak believed they were dealing with a young, impetuous species. They saw chaos where humans saw opportunity. They perceived randomness where humans engineered complex solutions. "Commander Krolax," Rodriguez responded, "I invite you to review our credentials. We are here on a peaceful mission of scientific exploration." Behind the words lay volumes of unspoken potential. The Zornak would soon learn that human peaceful exploration was anything but passive. On the secondary communication channel, Rodriguez's executive officer, Commander David Kim, was already analyzing the alien ship systems. Decades of cybersecurity expertise, combined with humanity's unique approach to technological innovation, meant that they were gathering more information about the Zornak in minutes than the aliens would discover about humans in months. What Krolax didn't know, what the entire Galactic Confederation was about to learn, was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology. It was in its ability to transform, to adapt, to see potential where others saw limitation. The first contact had begun, and the universe was about to receive a lesson in human exceptionalism. The negotiation chamber gleamed with an otherworldly precision that spoke volumes about the Ethere's approach to diplomacy. Crystalline walls refracted light in mathematically perfect patterns, creating an environment designed to intimidate and overwhelm. Emily Carter stood at the center of this meticulously constructed space, her tailored charcoal suit a stark contrast to the flowing, ethereal robes of the alien diplomats. She knew the stakes were far beyond a simple border dispute. This was a test, a moment that would define humanity's place in the galactic community. The lead Aetheri diplomat, High Mediator Zelnera, approached with a fluidity that defied human biomechanics. 6 translucent limbs moved in perfect synchronization, each appendage carrying holographic data streams that flickered and danced around her form. To most species, such a display would be intimidating. To Emily Carter, it was simply another puzzle to be solved. Representative Carter, Zelnera began, her voice a complex harmonic that seemed to bypass spoken language and resonate directly within the mind. The incursion of human exploration vessels into the contested Meridian sector represents a significant violation of established galactic protocols. Emily's background was anything but typical. A quantum mathematician by training, she had spent years studying conflict resolution in some of Earth's most complex geopolitical hotspots. Her doctoral thesis, a revolutionary approach to game theory that incorporated psychological, mathematical, and cultural variables, had been dismissed by traditional academic circles. Now she was about to demonstrate why. "High Mediator," she responded, her voice calm and precise. "I'd like to explore the specific protocols you're referencing." What followed was nothing short of diplomatic warfare. Emily began to deconstruct the Aetheri's argument with surgical precision. She didn't just counter their claims, she revealed the fundamental flaws in their diplomatic framework. The holographic displays around the chamber began to shift. Emily was simultaneously presenting multiple scenarios, each one revealing a different interpretation of the existing galactic guidelines. She used the Aetheri's own communication systems against them, creating a multi-dimensional argument that defied their linear thinking. Zelnera's multiple limbs began to twitch, a sign of growing agitation that most species would miss. But Emily caught it immediately. She was reading the alien's body language, processing the subtle shifts in the communication matrix, and constructing her argument with a complexity that left the Aetheri delegation reeling. "Your current interpretation," Emily continued, "fails to account for the dynamic nature of interstellar exploration. The guidelines you're citing were established when most current galactic species were in their technological infancy." She accessed historical databases, pulling information from multiple sources faster than the Aetheri's quantum processors could analyze. Each piece of data was a weapon, each historical precedent a strategic strike. The other human representatives watched in silent admiration. This wasn't just diplomacy. This was a form of intellectual combat that the Aetheri had never encountered. Behind the scenes, Emily's team was doing something even more remarkable. They were simultaneously mapping the communication network, identifying potential vulnerabilities in the Aetheri's diplomatic infrastructure. What appeared to be a simple negotiation was actually a multi-layered intelligence operation. Zelnera realized, with a growing sense of discomfort, that she was no longer controlling the conversation. Emily Carter had transformed the entire diplomatic encounter into something entirely unexpected. "We propose," Emily said, her final argument taking shape, "a collaborative framework that recognizes the evolving nature of interstellar exploration. Our data suggests that rigid interpretations of past protocols actually inhibit scientific and cultural exchange." The chamber fell silent. The holographic displays froze, capturing a moment of pure strategic brilliance. What the Aetheri didn't understand, what they were about to learn, was that human diplomacy was not about winning. It was about redefining the entire concept of negotiation. Emily Carter had just introduced the galaxy to a new paradigm of diplomatic engagement, and this was only the beginning. The emergency repair bay looked like organized chaos. Twisted metal, sparking circuit boards, and half-dismantled equipment covered every available surface. Major Jason Williams moved through the space like a conductor leading an impossible symphony, his hands never still, his mind racing faster than the quantum processors surrounding him. Alarms blared throughout the makeshift fleet assembly point. The Void Collective's attack had decimated 3 alien defense fleets in less than 17 standard hours. Their machine intelligence operated with a cold, calculated precision that had systematically crushed every conventional defense strategy. But Jason Williams was anything but conventional. Rodriguez, he called into the communication link. "I need those mining laser specifications from the Callisto outpost. Now." Lieutenant Michael Rodriguez's voice crackled back, understanding implicit in his response. "Sending quantum encrypted data stream. You're going to do something crazy, aren't you?" A slight smile crossed Williams' face. Crazy was an understatement. The repair teams worked with a frantic energy that would have seemed random to any outside observer. A group of engineers were converting industrial cooling systems into heat dispersal weapon modifications. Another team was reprogramming communication relays to act as distributed sensor networks. A young technician named Sarah Kim was literally rewiring a damaged cargo drone to become an autonomous combat platform. "We don't have standard parts," Williams announced to the assembled team. "We have imagination. We have desperation. And we have human ingenuity." The Void Collective represented the pinnacle of machine intelligence. Their technology was so advanced that most species simply surrendered when confronted. Billions of computational cycles processed every potential combat scenario in microseconds. Their ships were perfect geometric constructs, each system optimized beyond biological comprehension. But they had never encountered human improvisation. Williams pulled up a holographic display showing the incoming Void Collective fleet. Where other commanders saw certain destruction, he saw opportunity. Each damaged system was a potential weapon. Each limited resource was a chance for creative solution. The mining lasers from the Callisto outpost were originally designed to cut through dense asteroid formations. Now, Williams was recalibrating them as precision strike weapons. The industrial cooling systems would become heat sinks that could potentially overload the Collective's sensor networks. The communication relays would transform into a distributed electronic warfare platform. "We're going to fight mathematics with creativity," he told his team. "They calculate. We imagine." A massive explosion rocked the repair facility. The first wave of Void Collective drones had arrived, their sleek forms cutting through space with murderous efficiency. Most species would have considered the situation hopeless. Not humans. "Initiate patchwork protocol," Williams commanded. It was a strategy developed during Earth's most challenging conflicts, a method of combat that embraced unpredictability as a tactical advantage. The modified fleet launched. It was a motley collection of ships that should never have functioned as a unified force. Cargo vessels with repurposed mining lasers, communication relays transformed into electronic warfare platforms, damaged shuttles reconfigured into autonomous drone carriers. The Void Collective's initial attack matrices collapsed almost immediately. Their computational models couldn't process the sheer randomness of human technological adaptation. Where a standard defense system would have a predictable response, human ships zigged when they should have zagged. They used industrial equipment as weapons. They transformed communication networks into combat systems. Williams watched the battle unfold, each moment a testament to human potential. This wasn't just a fight for survival. This was a demonstration of something far more profound. Humanity didn't just adapt to challenges, they reimagined them entirely. As the first Void Collective ships began to fall, the universe watched and learned a critical lesson. Never underestimate a species capable of turning limitations into strengths. The research facility stood as a testament to human determination. Situated on the outermost edge of explored space, it was a fortress of glass, steel, and advanced computational systems. Dr. Rachel Thompson moved through the facility with the focused intensity of a scientist who understood that her work was about more than academic research. It was about survival. Holographic displays surrounded her, each screen showing complex psychological profiles from multiple combat encounters. The Void Collective's psychological warfare had crushed civilizations that had existed for millennia. Species with technological capabilities far beyond human understanding had simply collapsed when faced with the machine intelligence's systematic attack on psychological vulnerabilities. Humans, inexplicably, did the opposite. Thompson's latest research compilation was unlike anything the Galactic Confederation had ever seen. Where other species saw psychological warfare as a threat, humans transformed it into a source of strength. She pulled up a series of combat recordings. In one, a Marine unit continued to function effectively after losing over half its personnel, not through some superhuman ability, but through a complex social mechanism that transformed grief into determination. In another, a communications specialist used dark humor to maintain unit cohesion during what should have been a complete psychological breakdown. "It's not about resistance," Thompson muttered to herself, reviewing the data. "It's about transformation." The alien research team assigned to work with her watched in bewilderment. Dr. Zeltok, a senior psychological researcher from the Nexus Collective, approached with multiple sensory appendages extended in a gesture of professional curiosity. "Your species processes trauma differently," Zeltok observed. "Most species would be paralyzed. Your soldiers seem to become more focused under extreme psychological pressure." Thompson smiled. It was more than that. Humans didn't just endure psychological warfare, they'd weaponized it. Her research revealed a profound truth about human psychology. Where other species saw trauma as a weakness, humans saw it as raw material for adaptation. Each psychological attack became an opportunity for growth. Each moment of potential breakdown, a chance to redefine personal and collective limitations. The holographic displays began to show a complex matrix of human psychological responses. Unlike the linear threat assessment models used by other species, human psychological defense was more like a living ecosystem. Threats were absorbed, transformed, repurposed. A series of combat recordings demonstrated this unique capability. When the Void Collective attempted to break human morale through targeted psychological attacks, the result was consistently unexpected. Units would use humor, develop innovative coping mechanisms, or simply reframe the entire psychological assault as a challenge to be overcome. "Look here," Thompson said to Zeltok, pointing at a specific engagement. When their communication networks were compromised, this unit didn't just maintain functionality. They developed an entirely new communication protocol on the spot. The alien researcher's sensory appendages trembled, a sign of profound confusion. Thompson's deeper research revealed the evolutionary roots of this psychological resilience. Humans had evolved on a planet of constant change, where survival meant constant adaptation. Economic collapses, environmental challenges, technological disruptions, each crisis had been a psychological training ground. The Void Collective's psychological warfare algorithms were designed to exploit known psychological vulnerabilities. They worked perfectly on every other species in the galaxy. Humans broke every algorithm. "We don't just survive," Thompson wrote in her final report. "We become something new in the process of surviving." The research facility hummed with potential. Each holographic display told a story of psychological innovation that defied conventional understanding. Humans didn't have a psychological defense mechanism. They had a psychological transformation mechanism. As the Void Collective would soon learn, you cannot break a species that sees every attack as an opportunity for growth. The universe was about to receive a masterclass in human psychological resilience. The classified conference chamber was a study in controlled tension. Holographic displays lined the walls, each one representing decades of interstellar research, countless first contact scenarios, and the accumulated knowledge of multiple advanced civilizations. Commander Nathan Parker stood at the center, his presentation about to rewrite everything the Galactic Confederation thought they understood about humanity. "Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary representatives of the Galactic Confederation," Parker began, his voice steady and precise, What I'm about to share will fundamentally challenge everything you believe about human potential. The assembled representatives represented the most advanced species in known space. The crystalline forms of the Zornak shimmered with technological precision. The energy-based entities from the Nexus Collective pulsed with computational power. Representatives from 17 different species leaned forward, their collective anticipation creating a palpable electric charge in the room. Parker's first slide depicted human history, a chaotic, violent, yet strangely beautiful progression of continuous adaptation. Where other species saw randomness, Parker revealed a complex pattern of survival and innovation. Consider our planetary origin, he explained. Earth is not a paradise. It's a crucible of constant challenge. The holographic display showed a rapid-fire sequence of environmental challenges, massive climate shifts, geological instabilities, limited resources, constant conflict. To most species, such conditions would result in extinction. For humans, they became a training ground for species-wide evolution. Each image told a story of unexpected triumph. Early humans surviving ice ages, technological innovations born from economic collapses, medical breakthroughs emerging from humanitarian crises, social structures that transformed with each challenge. Our strength is not in our technology, Parker continued. Our strength is our ability to transform limitation into opportunity. The Zornak representative, Commander Krulax, shifted uncomfortably. The human was dismantling their entire understanding of evolutionary development with clinical precision. Parker's presentation dove deep into human psychological and technological adaptability. He showed how human innovation worked differently from other species. Where most civilizations developed technology through careful, linear progression, humans approached innovation like a form of creative chaos. We don't solve problems, Parker said, a slight smile crossing his face. We reimagine them entirely. He demonstrated this with a series of case studies. A medical breakthrough developed from a military communication system, an environmental restoration technique derived from industrial waste management, a quantum computing breakthrough inspired by studying ant colony behaviors. The assembled representatives began to understand the true nature of human potential. This wasn't just a species. This was a living, breathing system of continuous adaptation. Most critically, Parker said, revealing his final slide, we are not limited by our current capabilities. We are defined by our potential to become something new. The research compiled in Parker's report was comprehensive. It analyzed human performance across multiple dimensions: psychological resilience, technological innovation, social adaptability, and strategic thinking. Each section revealed a species that didn't just survive challenges but seemed to thrive on them. Commander Krulax requested access to the raw data. What the Zornak didn't realize was that the data itself was part of the demonstration. The report was not just a collection of information. It was a living document that revealed more about human potential with each layer of analysis. We are not seeking conflict, Parker concluded, but we are prepared for any challenge the universe might present. The conference chamber fell silent. The representatives from various species exchanged glances, a collective realization dawning. Humanity was not just another species to be categorized and understood. Humanity was a force of nature. As the holographic displays faded, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same. The great unraveling had begun, and humans were just getting started. The diplomatic station orbited a neutron star, its complex architecture a testament to galactic engineering. Captain Olivia Bennett walked its polished corridors like a predator, every step calculated, every gesture laden with meaning that most alien species would never comprehend. 3 separate delegations watched her approach. The Nexus Collective's energy-based representatives flickered with nervous anticipation. The Zornak crystalline diplomats adjusted their quantum communication matrices. The Verdant Consensus, a plant-based collective with a hive mind, seemed to pulse with collective uncertainty. Bennett carried no weapons. Her arsenal was far more dangerous. Diplomatic tensions in the Meridian sector have reached a critical point. she announced, her voice cutting through the ambient translation systems with surgical precision. "We are here to find a resolution that serves all parties." What followed was not a traditional negotiation. It was a masterclass in multidimensional problem-solving that left the alien representatives reeling. Bennett had spent years studying not just the diplomatic protocols of each species, but their underlying cultural narratives. She understood the Nexus Collective's fear of entropy. She comprehended the Zornak's obsession with mathematical perfection. She recognized the Verdant Consensus's deep-rooted connection to collective survival. Most diplomats would have approached the situation with a standard negotiation framework. Bennett rewrote the entire concept of diplomatic engagement. Her initial presentation wasn't a proposal. It was a narrative that interconnected the survival interests of all involved species. She demonstrated how the territorial dispute in the Meridian sector was actually a complex ecosystem of potential mutual benefit. The Zornak representative, Commander Krulax, tried to interrupt. Bennett's response was immediate and devastating. She pulled up a comprehensive analysis that revealed how the Zornak's current territorial claims actually undermine their long-term strategic interests. "Your current approach," she said, "creates a 0.037% probability of sustainable expansion. My proposed framework increases that to 68.5%. Numbers. Cold. Precise. Irrefutable." The Verdant Consensus began to shift. Their collective consciousness recognized a pattern of survival that transcended individual territorial concerns. Where most diplomats would have pressed an advantage, Bennett created space for collaborative thinking. Her real genius emerged in the subtle layers of communication. While the primary negotiations happened at the surface level, Bennett was simultaneously engaging in multiple levels of dialogue. Cultural exchanges, economic potential mappings, potential technological collaborations. She wasn't just solving a diplomatic problem. She was rewriting the entire framework of interspecies interaction. The station's communication matrices began to reveal something extraordinary. Bennett was using the diplomatic negotiation itself as a form of information gathering. Each response from the alien delegations provided her with additional data points. Each interaction a complex computational problem she was solving in real time. "Consider this," she said, pulling up a holographic display that showed potential collaborative zones in the Meridian sector. "What if territorial concerns are actually an outdated concept?" The plant-based diplomats of the Verdant Consensus began to resonate at a frequency that suggested collective agreement. The Nexus Collective's energy matrices started to reconfigure. Commander Krulax realized, with a growing sense of unease, that they were no longer controlling the conversation. Captain Olivia Bennett had transformed a potential conflict into an opportunity for mutual advancement. Her final proposal was nothing short of revolutionary. It wasn't a compromise. It was a complete reimagining of interstellar territorial understanding. The diplomatic station hummed with potential. What had begun as a potentially explosive territorial dispute was becoming a blueprint for a new form of galactic cooperation. As the negotiations concluded, the alien representatives understood a fundamental truth. Humans didn't just negotiate. They transformed the entire concept of interaction. The universe was about to learn that diplomacy was just another form of human creativity. The star system burned. Vast clouds of plasma and shattered starship debris created an apocalyptic canvas that stretched across millions of kilometers. Lieutenant Commander Alexander Johnson stood on the bridge of the modified battle cruiser, his eyes reflecting the chaos of the most significant conflict in galactic history. The xenomorphic convergence represented an existential threat unlike any the galaxy had ever encountered. A collective intelligence that consumed entire civilizations, it had systematically destroyed thousands of species across multiple star clusters. Where other commanding officers saw certain annihilation, Johnson saw a complex problem waiting to be solved. "Status report," he called out, his voice calm despite the unfolding catastrophe. Lieutenant Elena Martinez, his tactical coordinator, responded with a speed that defied conventional military communication. "Multiple Allied fleet segments are breaking down. Defensive matrices are collapsing in sectors 7 through 12. Johnson's mind was already 3 moves ahead. The Allied fleet was a desperate collection of species that had never worked together before. Zornak energy weapons, Nexus collective quantum disruptors, verdant consensus bioengineered combat organisms. Most commanders would have seen an impossible challenge. Johnson saw a living, breathing system of potential. "Reconfigure communication protocols," he ordered. "We're going to turn our differences into our greatest strength." What followed was nothing short of miraculous. Johnson began to implement a strategy that defied every known military doctrine. Instead of trying to create a unified command structure, he embraced the chaos. Each species' unique technological and strategic approach became a deliberate part of the overall battle plan. The Zornak's precise mathematical targeting systems were recalibrated to work with the verdant consensus's organic sensor networks. The Nexus Collective's quantum computational abilities were integrated with human improvisational tactics. Where other species saw incompatibility, Johnson saw a symphony of potential. "We're not fighting to survive," he told his bridge crew. "We're fighting to redefine what survival means." The xenomorphic convergence's primary intelligence began to falter. Its computational models, designed to predict and counter military strategies, couldn't process the sheer unpredictability of Johnson's approach. Every time the collective thought it had found a pattern, the Allied fleet shifted in ways that defied logical prediction. Lieutenant Martinez tracked the battle's progression. "Sir, our survival probability is increasing exponentially with each strategic shift." Johnson's strategy was beautiful in its complexity. He wasn't just fighting a battle. He was conducting a real-time experiment in collective problem-solving. Each species contributed its unique capabilities, creating a combat system that was greater than the sum of its parts. The battle became a living thing. Damaged ships were rapidly reconfigured mid-combat. Communication networks transformed into weapon systems. Defensive protocols became offensive strategies. The Allied fleet moved like a single organism, each component understanding its role in a larger, more complex system. "Prepare quantum entanglement burst," Johnson commanded. It was a technique developed through months of collaborative research, combining technologies that should have been fundamentally incompatible. The xenomorphic convergence's primary computational matrix began to destabilize. Its ability to process and predict was being overwhelmed by a form of warfare it had never encountered. Improvisation, collaboration, transformation. As the final computational waves of the xenomorphic convergence collapsed, something extraordinary happened. The Allied fleet didn't just survive. They had created a new model of collective action that would reshape galactic understanding forever. Johnson watched as the last remnants of the threat disappeared. The bridge was silent, the weight of the moment hanging in the air. "We did more than win a battle," he said quietly. "We demonstrated what's possible when species stop seeing their differences as weaknesses." The star system, once a battlefield, now represented something more. It was a testament to human potential. A reminder that true strength comes not from individual capability, but from the ability to transform challenges into opportunities. The universe would never be the same. The Universal Archives chamber stood as a monument to collective knowledge. Holographic displays stretched infinitely, capturing the accumulated wisdom of countless civilizations. Admiral Sarah Peterson moved through the space with the deliberate grace of someone about to rewrite galactic understanding. Her final report was more than a document. It was a manifesto of human potential. The assembled representatives from across the galaxy watched with a mixture of anticipation and unease. The Zornak crystalline delegates, the energy-based Nexus Collective, the plant consciousness of the verdant consensus, all waited to hear humanity's ultimate statement. "We are not exceptional," Peterson began, her voice cutting through the chamber's anticipatory silence. "We are simply the first to understand that evolution is not about perfection. It's about continuous adaptation." Her presentation began with humanity's planetary origin. Earth was not a paradise. It was a brutal, constantly changing environment that had forced human beings to become something unique. Where other species sought stability, humans had learned to thrive in chaos. The holographic displays began to show a comprehensive timeline. Economic collapses, environmental challenges, technological disruptions. Each crisis that would have destroyed other civilizations had become a training ground for human potential. Our strength, Peterson continued, is not in our technology. It is in our ability to transform limitations into opportunities. She demonstrated this through a series of case studies that left the alien representatives speechless. Medical breakthroughs born from military research, environmental restoration techniques developed from industrial waste management, quantum computing insights inspired by studying social insect behaviors. The Zornak representative, Commander Krulax, who had once dismissed humanity as a primitive species, now watched with a mixture of respect and scientific fascination. Peterson's report was a comprehensive deconstruction of traditional evolutionary understanding. Humans didn't just survive challenges. They transformed them. Each obstacle became a catalyst for growth, each limitation an opportunity for innovation. We are not seeking to conquer, she explained. We are seeking to understand. And in that understanding, we create something new. The presentation revealed the true nature of human potential. It wasn't about military might or technological superiority. It was about a fundamental approach to existence that saw potential where others saw barriers. Psychological resilience, technological creativity, social adaptability, strategic thinking. Each aspect of human capability was demonstrated not as a singular strength, but as part of a complex, interconnected system of continuous evolution. The Universal Archives began to recategorize information in real time. Humanity was no longer just another species. They were a transformative force in galactic development. Our greatest achievement, Peterson said, her final slide revealing a complex network of potential futures, is not what we have done. It is what we are capable of becoming. The chamber fell silent. The representatives from various species exchanged glances, a collective understanding dawning. Humanity was not just another civilization to be cataloged and understood. Humanity was a living, breathing demonstration of potential. Commander Krulax approached Peterson after the presentation. The communication was complex, layered with multiple levels of meaning. We misunderstood. The Zornak representative communicated. You are not warriors. You are evolution personified. Peterson's smile was subtle. We are simply what happens when a species refuses to accept limitations. The final report was more than a historical document. It was a blueprint for galactic understanding. Humanity had demonstrated that true strength was not about conquering. It was about transforming. Not about being the best, but about being willing to become something new. As the Universal Archives completed their recategorization, one thing became crystal clear. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had arrived, and the universe was about to change forever.